But I think the main things is at the end of the day, volleyball is volleyball. It's in the same 9x9 court, and the rules are the same. So we. Is that on the back of your shirt?
Yeah, it's on the back of the shirt.
Beauty. A little free shout out for you. And it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the net. You need to still execute to the best of your ability if you want a chance to win.
That's right, Brett Walsh. Welcome back to day number 12 of the 9x9's coverage of the 2024 Paris Olympic Games. My name is Everett Delorme. That is Rob St. Clair. And this is the 81 square meters of the best volleyball on the internet. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a men's volleyball Olympic finals set in stone. And from the solemn look on my co-host's face over there, you can tell what one of the results was. We had one fantastic match and one kind of shit show, but it doesn't matter. We'll break those down in a second, as France and Poland will be competing for the gold medal of the 2024 Paris Olympic Games, with Italy and the USA competing for the bronze medal. Rob, if it's any consolation, I picked Italy to win. You picked USA to win. Both of our teams, quote unquote, picks for the finals will be in the bronze medal match. Although I'm sure that's no consolation to you.
Nope. Yeah, there's a lot to get to here. I'm obviously, I'm like completely heartbroken. I'm so sad, upset, like depressed. Like Everett, I feel like when we do all of this, we do all this coverage, we watch all this volleyball, we talk about all this. I don't know if you felt this, but I myself have felt myself getting like detached from the feeling of being a competitor and what it feels like to really care about a win and a loss. And like, especially when we do the Italian club leagues and all this Champions League and all this stuff, like, because I have no skin in the game in those things. I haven't cared about a volleyball team this much in like since the last Olympics, really. And I've now like I feel more for every athlete that loses in the Olympic Games, because what I'm feeling right now is a tiny fraction of what they're feeling, because they put in all the work. I'm just like a fan sitting over here on the other side of the world. But my God, am I heartbroken about this game. And about this USA performance, and about I shouldn't say the performance. I'm not heartbroken about the performance.
Please, thank you.
I'm heartbroken about the result, because I really think that the United States men. I mean, we can start there. I really think the United States men were playing at a gold medal level.
100%.
And I think that it's not that crazy to say that the way that we played today was gold medal deserving, but it was also gold medal deserving for Poland, just a little bit more so. And
the gut check time.
Right. And that's what pisses me off about this egg that Italy just laid too.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that. I want to start this first and foremost to all you idiot American fans in the Discord or in the chatter being like, "Oh, USA choke, USA choke, USA choke." No, that was one of the best semifinals in the Olympics we've ever had. Side note, by the way, of the 14 past Olympic semifinals on the men's side, only 3 have gone to 5 sets, all of them being USA. USA against Russia in 2008, USA against Brazil
in 2016. Don't remind me.
Italy in
we'll talk
2016,
about that.
and then this one here. This was a banger of a match. This was a match with 2 juggernauts going toe to toe. You had, as I said, and I made a TikTok earlier, this was a Zenit Kazan practice from 2017 with it, and these 2 guys, Matt Anderson and Wilfredo Leon, looked like they were back in their mid-20s. They looked like they were in peak condition. This was a heavyweight battle that went 15-13 in the 5th. Sure, USA was up 9-5. Everyone was saying it was worse than that, and it was 9-5 in the 4th. That's how
20-18 in the 4th is the one that hurts.
Yeah. Yes and no. I mean, a 2-point, it hurt, obviously, but that's not a choke to me. You didn't choke it away. You guys got off the bus and played played the best game you possibly could have. Right? That's like
almost.
Almost. Yeah, sure. Like, there's always going to be things that are going to be left wanting. But if I hear another American fan saying, "Oh, it's a choke," shut up, grow up. right? This
There's
team
people that
played
completely
hard.
don't understand how
No,
sports work or have never played before.
no, this team played hard against the best number one team in the world, and they lost by a fingernail. Once again, Rob, you said it in our Volleyball World Preview show that this was a coin flip, and it was. It was absolutely a coin flip. It was an all-time performance from both teams, and you see the elation on Poland, and that was because of the match that was in front of them. If you want to talk about Italy choking, absolutely. Boys didn't even get off the bus. Boys didn't even get off the
that's a
bus.
meltdown of all meltdowns.
But this American team left it all on the floor, and I think you guys have something to be proud about.
Well, thank you. I agree. I do agree. I thought we played an awesome match of volleyball, but that I think makes it hurt a little bit more that it wasn't enough because Poland late, their X factor was the baseline, and late in that fourth set and certainly in that fifth set, the difference was from the baseline. They were so clutch, they were so nasty, they were so vicious, and they were so timely about the balls that they were serving and when they were serving them. And we couldn't answer with serving of our own, and we couldn't even fight them off and make like the plays in reception and side out that we were making for a lot of the match. Like honestly, I thought for the first two sets, which were totally back and forth, I thought we did a phenomenal job fighting off their servers, Leon and all the rest. And Barnett said it well for the little fraction of the time that I was watching the NBC broadcast until we missed 6 points in a row for a commercial break, and then I switched away from that. We can talk about that later. I thought we did a really good job of just not getting aced. That's all. That's your job when you play against a serving team like Poland, is just keep the ball alive and give yourself a chance. And we did that pretty well. But like it just got to be too much with how hard and how consistently Poland was serving, and Wilfredo Leon obviously led the charge, but
with him,
that was the X factor. And even Norbert Huber in the fifth set dialed one up, and then Leon was just a stone cold killer. And he is, if not the greatest, one of the very greatest players of all time. And that's another thing that drives me insane about the result of this match, is that we played so well, and Leon has been invisible for 12 months. And then he shows us today that he is still one of the greatest players of all time.
Yeah. Leon he was at 22 for 41 with only 3 errors in this one, and one of those errors coming right late at the end of that fifth set. He was outstanding. He was truly outstanding, and I think it has to be said that on the other side you had Matt Anderson, who was 23 for 37. Now his efficiency wasn't as good.
Well, he was automatic until the fifth set. I think he was like 2 for 7 with 3 errors in the fifth.
The majority of those errors from Matt Anderson do come in the fifth, unfortunately. And Rob, I said it once again in our Volleyball World Preview show that I thought this match was going to be one down the middle. And in the fifth set, Poland's middle scored 7 points. And so that's what it was. Is like, for me, there was just different phases of this game. There was the feeling out stage of the first set, where it was just like both Leon and Anderson had 9 points in the first. It was just two heavyweights going slug for slug. Bam, 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 went to the toe. Right. And then the same thing in the second too. It was both teams kind of feeling themselves out. I thought the US's block really established themselves well, less in terms of like big block touches or big blocks, but getting good touches and just creating a good presence. You guys completely dominated. Like all of that was dialed to 11 in the third set, and it was utter domination.
Well,
and remember, like
the third set is this is one, I think probably the most heartbreaking part, is that this is basically a carbon copy of 2016. This is pretty much the exact same thing that happened in 2016, where we go up 2-1 on Italy. We won that third set in 2016 in the Olympic semifinal. I think it was 25-9. And everything unraveled for Italy. They pulled all the starters. They totally punted the set, and then they brought everyone back in, and we single-handedly lost to Ivan Zaitsev. This is a more complete comeback performance by Poland, but everything unraveled for them in the third set. And I even thought about it at the time. I'm like, there's no way we can be going through this again. When Pavel Zatorsky, in that crazy long scramble rally that was like a 45-second rally, when he got like basically side tackled by Marcin Janusz and went down for the better part of 5 minutes, and we weren't even sure if Poland was going to have a libero on the floor. and then they were reeling emotionally, and we made all the plays and we dominated them in that set. Like we've all have seen volleyball before. Like that happens when you have something like that happen on the Polish side. Then the fact that Poland responded, and the fact that I'm all that more angry and upset and heartbroken that we lost to Grzegorz Łomacz.
Okay, yeah, sure. On paper, he might be the best setter in the world. Arguably one of the best setters in the world. And I know on paper losing the Łomacz isn't the best look, but Łomacz balled out. Łomacz came in and made a difference. And I think the big thing, especially down the stretch in that fifth set, is Łomacz is really good at setting the middles and is ballsy at setting the middles.
That's all he did.
That's all he did in that fifth set, right? Leon dominated in the third to put them back on, right? He got an ace midway through to pull them within 2, and then he got an ace late, acing Eric Shoji at the end of that set to even things up.
End of the fourth, yeah.
Yeah, and also he was 6 for 9 offensively with 2 aces and a block in the fourth. But then you would think that you would turn around and just give everything to Leon and really rely on him, but I thought Łomacz did a really good job at spreading that offense and really changing up the game plan for what like the U.S. had seen. Right, he brought a completely different look to that offense in the fifth set than the U.S. had.
What did I talk about? We have bullied. We've now played 5 Olympic matches, and we've bullied our opponents into a setter change in 3 out of the 5. And
Janusz was injured in that.
Was
play.
He?
Yeah. Janusz had to get pulled off apparently because he re-aggravated his back injury in that play.
Whatever. Łomacz set the middle every conceivable ball, and if any of you have watched him play really ever, especially for Skra Belchatov, that's all he does. The only thing that Grzegorz Łomacz is good at is setting the middle. So I wasn't surprised that he kept feeding him every time. That's the thing that I talked about this morning, is that I was afraid of getting torn apart down the middle. When we lost to them in the World Championship 2 years ago, we got torn apart down the middle. They just would not stop setting the middle, and there was nothing we could do about it. And honestly, like I wasn't as annoyed with our blocking performance against that today as I was 2 years ago, because Max Holt and Taylor Averill were there, just like didn't get any of like the lucky touches, or just didn't really get a break.
It was 50-50 down the middle for me until like it was 50-50 at the end of the fourth set. It was 50-50 in the first. They dominated down the middle in the third, right? It was just like the third was skewed towards you guys, and the fifth was skewed towards them.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. I mean, they pummeled us down the middle, but the Poland played a warrior, great battle of a match. They fought through a lot, and they were better in the fifth set. And they have the best individual player, both in the match and maybe of all time, who has a chance to cement his legacy with an all-time performance in the Olympic Games. And as well as this team played, and as well as we fought the entire Olympic Games, it is just incredibly sad and heartbreaking that the best we can play for now is bronze. And it feels exactly like it did in Rio, except there's much more finality to it, with this being like the last ride for most of the team. And we came up against a Polish team that was like 1% better. 1% better.
On today they were 1% better than you guys for sure. It sucks. Chad is bringing up Tomasz Fornal, and I fully agree. He was outstanding in the last 2 sets. He was a 7 for 9 overall in sets 4 and 5.
Yeah, he was awesome, and he didn't get any cards for what he would have gotten when he plays tomorrow against France. You better believe right now that if Tomasz Fornal behaves that same way tomorrow against France, he's getting carded. You better believe it.
No, yeah, absolutely against France, but I mean
against France. I'm not saying he should have gotten carded for the things he was doing today, because I disagree with that. I want there to be more trash talking in volleyball. But if and when he does those things tomorrow against France, he's getting carded for them.
But I mean, TJ was talking just as much trash. Like
TJ was sitting his ass on the bench at that point in the match.
Yeah, but he had been talking trash before. Right? Like I don't know. It wasn't that bad to me. Like he wasn't taking it overboard. I didn't think.
I agree. I don't think he was, but I reiterate, if he does that against France, he
Yeah.
gets carded. But he
Yeah.
played awesome. He was a total difference maker, both in defense and just like the confidence to take swings in transition. That was the thing that drove me crazy, is that we just couldn't find the floor late in the fourth set. Like we were running the same great, like, world-class offense that's been dominating all Olympics. We were taking the right swings, and Poland was just somehow touching balls and making these just stupid miracle swings that scored points. Like the way that they were bailing themselves out of jail the entire sets 4 and 5, it just like seems to me that I was meant to have my heart broken today. Seriously. It's like, couldn't buy a break, couldn't buy a dig, couldn't buy a block touch.
Not when it mattered. No. I mean, it was close. Once again, it was 15-13. Sure, it was 14-10.
14-10.
14-10 there in the fifth. It kind of got away from you guys a little bit, but that momentum goes one way, one different way, and it's a completely different match to me, I remember, I forget who it was at one point, and it was like an NHL player talking about losing in a 7-game series, like losing in overtime in a 7-game series. And it's just like, when you lose in that situation, you nitpick every little situation where you go like, what would have happened here? What would have happened if this happened? Whereas if you're like in Illy's case, where you just get blown out of the water and you don't get off the bus, then it's just an overall, we sucked. That was bad. Whereas you don't like lament over every single detail, which is, I think what we're seeing with this American loss. But I do think that like
it makes it hurt more, man. And I kind of felt it even watching that when we didn't win the fourth, I felt like we were in big trouble. I really felt like we were in big trouble, just the way that match was going.
And the momentum and the energy. And like, it was like, we might as well, there was someone in the chat in the Discord who was there, and they're like, guys, I thought I was in Warsaw. Like I thought that I was in Poland, right? So it was almost like playing Poland in Poland, which is not a great scenario for anyone, right? So yeah, it was an electric atmosphere in there, especially like, once again, the Poles were down and out. Like Gerbich was calling timeouts and just pleading with the guys to be able to play together. And that's exactly what he was saying in that timeout early in the fourth. It's just like, we're not all going to do this individually. Like, not one person is going to go on like a 5-point serving run or get all these blocks or these side outs or something like that. We're going to need to do it collectively. And I think in him saying that, we saw a lot more individual performances step up. Leon, Fornal, and Huber specifically in that fourth set. But it's a tough one, right? Like you said, it could have gone either way today. It really could have. It could have gone either way today. And I mean, like, I do want to talk about the play of Thomas Jischke, because I thought he was fantastic coming in, and
he was good
in that one. He kind of fell off in the third there, and that's maybe where some coaching decisions, maybe you like try to bring in TJ back in and invigorate him again. Like, maybe that's kind of a question marks, but it's like, it's such a toss up at this point,
Yeah, I mean, this is another reason why this sucks, is just on a very, very big level. The impact that this team could have had in American volleyball had they been able to somehow win a gold medal, it would have been so much better for the sport in my country had they been able to pull this off against the odds. Because of the 4 teams that had a chance going into today, of the 4 semifinalists, and of those same 4 teams that we've been saying all quad long, like, are the 4 best teams and are the 4 teams that really had a chance to win Olympic gold, we have by far the least amount of resources in terms of volleyball. By far, not even close. And it's probably naive and stupid of me to think this, but I was hoping that maybe with a miraculous gold medal and with a change at the CEO position of USA Volleyball, which is happening later this year, if those 2 things combine, then maybe we could actually really build something and really build like a program in international volleyball that can compete with those that actually care across the board, like Poland, Italy, and France. And when I felt the fourth set slip away, there were just so many thoughts that I had about the heartbreak that will be felt in American volleyball for years and years and years and years. because of a
It could,
15-13 loss in the fifth set.
but it could go the other way. Like once again, in a lot of ways, you guys are bringing spoons to a knife fight, and I think that like this is kind of a wake up call for the USAV, for the American volleyball public to kind of look at this and being like, look, we are falling by inches, by centimeters, if you will, if you want to go to the metric system, to the best teams in the world. And like
that puts so much more into it than we do.
That have pro leagues and proper development and feature the sport across the country, and it's on national TV, and it's fully supported, and all of these things. Like maybe that's the wake up call that like, hey, guess what? The NCAA isn't good enough. What you guys are doing isn't good enough, and things need to be stepped up.
I hope so, but knowing how American volleyball works, especially on the men's side, in a month, everybody in general, the general American public and most of the people in American volleyball will have forgotten entirely about this team, even if we win bronze. And that's the part that hurts me the most, is because I truly, truly love this team. I've loved this generation of athletes. I've loved everything that they've brought to American volleyball, and for what they have done at a global level, despite being so under-resourced compared to the other great teams in the world, and for being so good for so long. I wanted for them to have this.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But
I do think we should focus a little bit more on the game itself. I get that it's tough. You're going through your first big loss with this team as a media person, and it hurts. But do you think, Rob, in watching this game, that like personally, do you think there's anything left off the table for the USA? I don't. I think they kind of put everything out there. Like there's a few small decisions, but they're so minute that it doesn't really matter.
I agree. Like that, it's not worth like nitpicking a point or a set choice or a serve or a substitution. Like that, there's no point in doing that. It's I think we had an opportunity late in the fourth, up 20-18. That was the best chance that we had to win the match, and Poland served the ball so well that they made more plays than we did late. Like I don't think there's a point in getting so granular, especially given the stakes, but like we played a 98% perfect match today, and they played 99, and like we got beat by a slightly better team, and that hurts because of how well I thought we played. Like if we got killed like Italy did, I would be having a totally different conversation right now. And I think like some of the conversations that the idiot Americans are already having about like firing all the coaches and forcing all the players into retirement and crowning like 17-year-olds as the future of the program, and like all this garbage that like these reactionary takes about losing 15-13 in a fifth set to a better team who outplayed you by 1%. Like I don't like hearing those things, and I don't want to get into any of that. We played an awesome match of volleyball, and it wasn't quite enough. And now we have the most difficult task in the entire world, and that's to rebound in less than 48 hours to try and perform in a bronze medal scenario.
I fully agree, and I think it's worse for you guys because you did show up and get off
exactly
the semifinals, because it was within your grasps.
Exactly,
right?
Which
like,
is why like I honestly think that Italy, there's a chance that Italy just kills us on Friday.
Yeah, Italy has to bounce back nicely, right? Like Italy has to bounce back properly. And I mean, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that afterwards. But yeah, it was a heartbreaker for the American men. And on the other side of the net, you have Poland, who's going to a finals for the first time in 48 years, who have broken the quarterfinal curse, who are on their way to potentially cementing themselves as one of the best teams ever in men's volleyball. And ultimately, you had a Wilfredo Leon who has had some questions about his legacy, especially recently, and with Perugia, winning kind of without him, and this very Polish team winning without him last year at Eurovolley.
He was the MVP of Eurovolley, to be fair.
Oh no, yeah, he was. You're right. That was the World Championships before. I apologize.
Right. I don't think he was
World
a factor
Championships.
in 2022.
No,
he took the summer off.
Yeah, he took the summer off and didn't play World Champ, so I apologize. So yeah, you had Leon really step up in what right now it's to the point where like especially if he plays well in the finals, like he's getting that MVP.
Oh, for sure.
He has been their best player, like and especially this one.
Now, Polish fans, I have something that I need to say to you right now. First of all, like a very legitimate congratulations, because your team is really good and you fought really, really hard. And although you've broken my heart, I can't say that you weren't deserving of it. If you go out on Saturday and you lay an egg against France the way that Italy did just now, I will never talk positively about your country again. Never. If you give excuses that all your players are injured and everybody gave everything they had to win this semifinal match, and you go out against that French crowd on Saturday and you get swept, I will never talk positively about your team again. So please, for your own sake, in perspective of this channel, show up in the gold medal match and ideally win it. I want this French team buried in the ground. Understand?
Oh man. Rob doesn't get disappointed much when it comes to volleyball. This is new.
Everett, please fulfill our sponsorship obligations.
Sounds good. Well, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, you know that once you want to get watching volleyball again in the fall, or maybe it's for the Hamburg Elite 16 that's going on in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks' time, you know you're going to want to get yourselves a VBTV subscription. It's the home of everything volleyball, essentially. World Championships, VNL, the Superlega, the Indian Prime League, all the good stuff. Right, so head over to VBTV or Volleyball TV. No, Volleyball World
VBTV.
Yeah, VBTV.com, and to get your subscription, you can use the code VS10 for 10% discount on that. And while you're at it, you could head over to shop.volleyballworld.com and get your official Paris 2024 Olympic game balls from Mikasa. Get them in beach, you get the indoor, you can get the real ones, the replicas, and even the little mini balls, along with bunch of other great things going on at over there at shop.volleyballworld.com.
Thank you, Everett, first of all, and sincere thank you to our Polish fans in the chat, including Damariel Lunar, who just donated to us. That is very generous, and we appreciate it.
Exceedingly nice. Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate that very much. If there is one team who lost today that should not feel any level of disappointment, I honestly believe that the U.S. played a phenomenal match and should, and I hopefully will down the line, like hold their heads high. Conversely, what the hell happened to Italy just now? What kind of a performance was that? 21-21? Never even remotely competitive? Everett, what did we just watch?
Rob, the game says 25-20, 25-21, 25-21. It didn't feel that way.
Oh, no.
It didn't feel that way.
It felt like Italy was playing 6 versus 8, like we said.
It felt like a club tournament where somehow one of the scrub teams made it through to the quarterfinals. Like something happened. You know, one of the good teams got into a car accident on the way there. They missed one of their games, and all of a sudden, this like bottom of the barrel team was in there. France was toying with them. They weren't out there playing volleyball. They were out there entertaining themselves. Right? That's what it was. The
lack of mental preparedness is astonishing from Italy of all teams. Did you not expect the atmosphere that you just played in front of, which was one of the best I've ever seen, by the way?
Ever.
Did you not expect Irvin Ingapet to try and get inside and take permanent residence in your brain cells? Did you not expect the officiating to be completely one-sided? We told you all this. We told you this is all going to happen.
Fefe, where were you in the chat?
It's crazy that they weren't mentally prepared for what everybody should have seen coming from a mile away. And France rode that emotional wave, and they played unbelievable.
Micheletto is 2 for 13 with an error offensively.
Micheletto got benched, deservingly so, in an Olympic semifinal.
For Luca Porro, who I rate.
I like him.
But he's 18 years old. 20 years old, maybe. I thought he was 18, but somebody was saying in the chat that he was 20. I don't know.
20.
But this was, to me, this was a lack of leadership on this team, Rob. When you're talking about Italy, it was a lack of leadership on this team. It was a lack of accountability and of someone taking those younger guys and being like, look, this is actually what's going to happen. You know, and it's one thing I think for your coaches to tell you. This is where Simone Anzani, I think, would have been, right? Because instead, you've got a bunch of young guys who all they're dreaming of is Olympic glory, right? At this point. And I think someone needed to be there to scare something into them. And maybe that didn't happen because they just looked at a loss today. This was not the Italian team that we've seen in a long time. And I mean, France came out in full force and they were not able to handle it. They were not able to handle it mentally. And like you said, you had the entire crowd against you. You had the referees against you. And they really just didn't show up.
France outplayed Italy at every single position except maybe opposite. I thought Romano was fine today. And
he was fine, yeah.
He was fine, but honestly, there wasn't really that much that he could have done to have changed this. Like you can't look at individual performances in a game like this. There's no point. Well, on the losing side anyway. There were some damn good ones on the winning side. I mean, Trevor Cleveno was automatic.
Oh, remember when he started the tournament on the bench? Even though we said from the beginning
like 3 matches.
And higher S, Gianni, come on.
Yeah, seriously. And I thought Antoine Brizard was awesome as well. But like you can't really even look at individual performances on a losing side in a match like this. I totally agree with you. This is a very glaring reminder that this is the youngest team in the tournament in Italy. The youngest team in the tournament. And maybe Simone Anzani's leadership and experience would have been able to scare something into him, but Simone Gianelli's been through enough to play that role. And honestly, the whole team should have been through enough by being down 24-21 in the third to Japan 2 days ago. Like if you're like thinking that you can phone it in and just have these dreams about Olympic glory, that should have made your head real clear what you had to go through 2 days ago to even get to this point, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I thought that there was just a lot, like it just wasn't once again, like we were expecting. I needed Italy to be calm, right, and to just play their zone, and they never seem to get into that momentum. And this is a team that's won a world championship, that's won a Euro volley, that's gone to another Euro volley final. Like this is a team that has done it. And yeah, it was astonishing for me. I think Gianelli played poor. I thought some of his decisions, and I know like he was lacking options, except for Roberto Russo, who was like 7 for 8. And ended up being their second best score.
Yeah, you're right. 7 for 8,
7 for 8
2 blocks.
With 2 blocks. But there'd be times where he was just forcing Micheletto for no reason. Or there'd be times where like Romano was running across, like transitioning with no approach, and he's setting him.
It looked very un-Italian, very like no attention to detail, no flow, no system, no Italy, man.
Like this is the next curse. Right, we've gotten over we've gotten over Poland's curse, And now it's the Italian curse, because they just cannot seem to put it together at the Olympic Games. Now, luckily for them, they are the youngest team in the world right now. So essentially this entire team can come back, which is great. But
yeah, I think Gianelli at 28 is the oldest player on the roster.
Yeah,
or maybe Russo, I forget.
Yeah, but it's all about that mental, right? Italy wasn't able to find that mental place. And like at the last minute, Gianelli was able to do something against Japan, whereas nothing was able to happen and no one stepped up here against France. And I kind of agree with the chat with Reality Check that FIFA is afraid to bench Gianelli. Italy has one of, like, in terms of top setters for a program, it's either them or France in terms of like the pairing.
Agreed.
In like, you've got Brizard and Toniutti, and you have Gianelli and Spertoli. Spertoli to me is Spertoli. You want to be Canadian? Please come. I love you, but Spertoli is magic. He's a top 10 setter in the world
For sure.
I don't understand why he doesn't get a shot,
Especially the way that match was going.
But like, let's go back all the way to fucking VNL 2022, Rob. In Ottawa, you're there, I'm there, Spertoli's there, he doesn't play. VNL, world champs, Euro volley, he never gets a sniff because it's all about Gianelli. It's all about Gianelli, and Gianelli is fantastic. He's one of the best setters in the world, right? But even Tom Brady needed a backup sometimes, right? Even Aaron Rodgers needed a backup sometimes. And sometimes, especially without Simone Anzani, Gianelli needed a help with some of that weight. I think that if you had played Spertoli a little bit throughout, this is the exact same as the Jake Haynes argument. I promise it's the only time I'll say that name throughout this show. But if you played him a little bit, it would just take that much load off of Gianelli. Just that much load.
I think
and instead, once you get into these I'll finish with one thing. Once you get into these tough situations, you don't know how to change. You don't know how to bring in guys off the bench. Because you're kind of weak on the bench, because you decided to bring in like Porro and Bovalenta instead of legitimate guys who might be able to help. Who knows if that's the help, but you never change. You never help with any of your bench guys. This was a tight team that all of a sudden the game had changed a little bit and they couldn't adjust to it.
Why did Spertoli not start and play the entire Egypt game? Hindsight's 2020. Italy has some serious soul searching to do about what really went on here. And we haven't given France all the credit that they deserve yet, because they were unbelievable today. They made every play. They won every long rally, almost every long rally. They won all the 50-50 balls. They made all the plays late in sets. They rode the wave of the crowd. They showed the mental ability to succeed in the Olympic Games that Italy did not. And this is, again, even though Italy is young, they have been there. They have, we've said it, success at Eurovolley, success at the World Championship, the second most prestigious tournament you can win. They won 2 years ago. But the Olympic Games is different. It's different. The Olympic Games is a different thing, and Italy is going to have to dig deep about how not to repeat this in 4 years in LA.
I've thought about this, Rob, and what is the difference between like a VNL or a World Championship or anything compared to the Olympic Games? And to me, it's that all of those other tournaments are essentially marathons, right? Like you have to play a pool play, and then you're going to have to play a pre-quarter, and it's going to be a lot for a long time.
You're playing a lot of matches back to back to back to back, and you're traveling in the middle, and
yeah,
it's just like a different beast. And
Whereas once and this is why I think you see a lot of the older players, and like you've talked about it too, but once it comes to the Olympics, it's just very straightforward, right? And that's all it is. And I think this reminds me a lot of France. Remember when France was it France that beat Italy in the VNL semis in 2022?
France won it in 22 and 24. So yeah, I think it probably was 22 when they beat Italy.
They slapped
them, and
in the semifinals,
and we killed Poland in that semifinal. Yeah. And then France beat us in 5. Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You're right. for me, it was a lot like that game where I think Italy sometimes has that inability to bring something special to the table. And when someone takes that first big hit, they're unable to kind of steady themselves and punch back, because it was like they could not, like, I mean, at a certain point you could tell that Italy was teetering and France didn't hold back. They just started, like they really went in harder and they were riding the emotion, everything. But yeah, this Italian team just crumbled. But I think on the other side of the net, we have to give a lot of credit for the way they played from the French team. They were serving bullets.
Oh yeah,
Sinclair. Their serve game was incredible. Their passing game was incredible. Their defense, Grebennikov and Engapeth, incredible.
The one that Grebennikov lipped down the line off of Romano, just like one hand reach out to his left. It's just like a world-class generational talent kind of play. Like the dude was so good. He's so good. And he's so much fun to watch.
Yeah. It, like this French team showed up prepared. They showed up mentally ready up here. They like you're talking about it. These games are won in between here, and France had it in between here.
100%.
Everyone loves to rag on Engapeth this and Engapeth that. This dude is a baller. This is what he does. This is what he's done for the better part of a decade. Engapeth isn't going to not show up in a semifinal game. He's going to be the best player on the court, and that's exactly what it was.
Bet your life on it.
From the first set, when he was running the Engapeth play, where he's spinning around and hitting the ball behind his back and putting it off the block and out of bounds, you knew he was going to be on one. From the first set, the way that Klevno played, you knew he was going to be on one.
And then that ball that Engapeth bounced down the line in the third was really the punctuation mark. Like after that happened, they were up by 5. The match was over.
Yeah. For sure. I just felt that Italy got too much into too many things, too much complaining with the ref. Like we knew it was going to happen. And you know what? Antoine Brizard has been outstanding.
Great match today.
He has been so good for this French team. He's been consistent. He's run this offense fantastically. Like if you just look how it's spread, it's so nicely divided between Engapeth and Klevno, playing with the middles nicely. Like 10 kills from the middles or 10 points from the middles in a 3-set match is pretty good. I really like that. This is a really good team right now, Rob Sinclair. This is very good. Of a team that was ready to go, and they showed it. And
they're going to continue to play 8 on 6 in the next game, because that crowd, if you thought that crowd was insane tonight, just think about what it's going to be midday on a Saturday in Paris, France. That will be something extra special. And the last thing I will say is that the imbalance of officiating is just tough to watch, man.
Oh man,
the imbalance of throw calls, like the one. So I'll say the one that Micheletto got called on in the second set, that was a throw.
The over one.
That was a throw.
I agree with that. Yeah.
But
Irvin's
doing this. Irvin and Klevno and actually Chinese ones are doing the exact same thing. And no whistle to be found. Poland. Prepare yourselves for this. You do this. I mean, you have Alexander Slivka on the bench, who apparently isn't healthy enough to play, but that would be the perfect style counter because he's the slimiest player on either team. So prepare yourself for Alexander Slivka energy, because if you don't, you get steamrolled by this French team. I'm going to be pissed off.
I wonder, Rob, who we're potentially going to get in the bronze medal match, in the gold medal match. When's the gold medal match scheduled for? Saturday?
Saturday, 7 a.m. Eastern.
I'm going to see if there's already
an officiating assignment.
Because you know what? I will say that no, there's no officiating assignment yet on this one. I will say that when I saw who was reffing this match, I was like, okay, yeah, I know what's happening.
Yep. And what
I know
he is from?
All I'm going to say is that I've been on Canada has been on the receiving end of some of his calls.
So Poland, as we look at the bracket here and prepare for the final, the bronze medal match is on Friday. The gold medal match is on Saturday. As we prepare for the final,
Marcus, get out of here.
I'm curious about the matchup, Everett, between France being the best serve reception team in the field and Poland being the best serving team in the field. Like, Poland doesn't win that game today against the United States without being the best serving team in the field. And France isn't themselves when they're not the best reception team in the field. So it feels like a something's got to give situation in that particular area.
Yeah. First and foremost, I'm just going to say, I don't think we really need to preview the bronze medal match that much.
No, we don't.
Because it's not about X's and O's. It's just about who has the heart to go out and win an Olympic bronze medal.
Yep.
Now there is precedent here for the United States. They were able to get it done in Rio.
Down 0-2 to Russia, reverse sweep for a bronze.
Exactly. So there's still hope for your team to finish on the podium here, Rob. And I know it's not the color that you want, but there's still hope. So I'm just going to say that about that.
I know, and I, for the record, I think we're going to win that match for that exact reason. I don't. Italy. I'm trying to remember bronze medal matches. I mean, VNL is VNL, whatever. But when Italy gets knocked out in the semis, they never win bronze. I mean, I think 2 out of the last 3 VNLs when they've lost early. Let's see. In 23, they got beat by Japan for bronze.
Yes.
And I think in 22, they got beat by Poland for bronze. Like, Italy, to me, is not a bronze medal program.
No.
So whatever. But I mean, the gold medal match is the gold medal match. That's what we really got to talk about.
So, Rob, I will break this down one here and set the stage. Because not only do we have insane storylines on either side, France, with the first team with the potential to be back-to-back Olympic gold medal winners in the sports men's volleyball, the first time since 84
years
and 88 when the Americans did it. They have the chance to do that at home nonetheless. However, Poland is in their first final in 48 years, have the chance to win their first gold medal in 48 years. And Rob, may I remind you that this is also a rematch of the 2021 Tokyo Olympic Games quarterfinals, where France upset Poland 3-2 on the route to their eventual gold medal. And so because of all these things, I love, as much as Poland versus Italy would have been that highly technical banger of a game, we've seen that recently. We saw it at the World Championships in 2022. We saw it at Eurovolleyball in 2023. I really like this matchup.
Me too.
I think it's going to create some fireworks because I think this French team has the ego and the arrogance to push back against Poland and to fight back against Poland. And once they have their 7th and 8th player with them, because they will, they are going to be a very, very tough team to beat, and they're going to play with an attitude. And I think it's going to have to take another superstar performance from Wilfredo Leon and company for them to beat it. And that's why this game gets me so jacked up.
Yeah, there's so many similarities to that Olympic quarterfinal 3 years ago, but there's also kind of a lot of differences. I mean, the difference I think is everything off the court. Like, watching that that quarterfinal 3 years ago, even though that was as great of a volleyball match as I've really ever seen, that match was tremendous. The eeriness of it being silent in that gym was a completely different experience than it is going to be in 3 days. Night and day different from the last time these two teams met in the Olympic Games. And many of the players were there for that in Tokyo. The entire French starting roster obviously was. And a lot of Poland was, with the exception of really just Janusz. I think he's about the only guy that
Fornal?
I'm not sure if Fornal was on the roster or not. He definitely wasn't starting. But a lot of these guys remember that match, remember what it felt like to lose to that French team on that day. And again, I can't stress enough, learn from what Italy dealt with today and come into that match mentally prepared and come into that match with an edge and with an attitude and with a personality that can stand up to an 8 versus 6 situation with what that Poland's going to be facing.
Yeah, I think this one, Rob, is going to come down to a middle battle once again.
I agree.
Because I think that when you're looking on the outsides, like, it's kind of chalk. It really kind of is. The big question for me is how healthy is Poland coming into this? has Zatorsky bounced back
Well,
from
I
potentially?
don't care, and I don't want to hear it, even if they're not. This is the Olympic gold medal match. You have 2 days to prepare.
I know, but I think there's a huge thing. Like if Zatorsky's like if Zatorsky injured his shoulder that bad that he can't play, that's going to be a huge.
Oh
thing
yeah,
for
well if
Poland.
he can't play,
right? Like
but it's the Olympic gold medal match. Like he's gonna play.
Yeah, but it will affect him. And the same thing with Janusz. Is Janusz actually injured? Of course, like we don't actually know that. That was just what the Discord was talking about. Like, is Janusz actually injured? Is he good to go? Like, what is the health status of this Polish team? But when you look at it, like I think the battle down the middle, like Kokonowski and Huber against Le Goff and Chininieze is really, really interesting, especially if it's Lomacz, you're going to have Lomacz and Gazal, both guys who like to set the middle. It is going to be interesting. If Poland is to win, Rob, where do you think they need to succeed?
Well, Wilfredo Leon has to have the match of his life, just the same way that he did against France the last time out. Remember that Olympic quarterfinal was one of the best individual performances I've ever seen from Wilfredo Leon, and he was certainly not to blame for any of that. It needs to come from tremendous serving across the board, and it needs to be won with between the ears. We can talk about the X's and O matchups all we want, and I agree with you about the middle and that Poland really unlocked an area of success today by relying on Huber and Kochanowski so much, but this game is going to be won between the ears, and France has done this before. They have been in this situation before, and they have the home crowd, and they have even a little extra behind them that Poland's mental preparedness is going to have to be so damn good in order to win this thing. That and a combination of the best serving match that they can put together. I think that they're going to have to be just blistering it from the service line. And then last but not least, Bartosz Kurek has to be better. He still was not good today. We didn't really talk about it earlier, but he still wasn't good today.
He wasn't great. He hasn't been great this entire tournament.
Not at all.
He was pretty good against Slovenia, and that was it. And that was really it for me. I think Poland needs to start dominating
immediately.
And if you lose the first, you need to win the second. Right? Everything else is going to go down if they don't, like, they need to go into the third at least 1-1, right? At least tied 1-1, because if you let that crowd get going, if you let that team get going, it's going to be so hard to stop them. Can Leon put this team on his back? Can his team do it for him around him? Can France become the two-time defending champs? Like, there's so many storylines in this game, Rob. I honestly can't wait. I honestly can't wait. I think it's going to be an all-time classic.
Hopefully it will be. I mean, I'm really grasping here, but it is kind of better for us logistically of all the obligations that we're going to have on Saturday that my team is not playing in this game, because otherwise it would be a big problem for me to get all the things done that we're going to have to get done. I foresee a world, Everett, where I'm going to be really, really angry at the end of this gold medal match, because Poland will have ruined my team's chances to win an Olympic gold medal for nothing. 3-0 France. 3-0 France.
Is that what you're calling for?
That's what I'm calling for. I hate it. It's not what I want. It's not what I want. 3-0 France. I don't think Poland can handle what France is doing right now. I don't think Poland can handle what France did today to Italy. I don't think Poland can handle it between the ears. And when they don't, I think they're going to blame it on a bunch of stuff. It's going to piss me off because they beat us by 1% today. France 3-0. Maybe it's because I'm angry. Maybe it's because I'm being a pessimist.
Yeah, I think you are.
But I honestly see, I can picture myself right now, 3 days from now, being so mad at the way Poland was unable to learn from Italy's mistake and just getting steamrolled by the emotion and the crowd and the officiating and all that. 3-0 France is my call.
I would disagree with that.
I hope I'm wrong, honestly.
I think you will be. Mostly because when you're talking about big games like this, Italy's fans and Italy's culture and their crowds and stuff like that don't come up to the pressure that Poland puts on themselves.
Good
right?
point.
Do you think the pressure inside the arena against Poland is going to be worse than the pressure outside of the arena? This is a team that knows pressure. If there's a team in the world of volleyball that knows pressure, it's this team right here. It's these players. Like
They've finally gotten past the curse.
Over the past however many years, these are the guys that have been to Champions League finals. They've been to Euro, to Euro volley finals. Like they've done it all. This is a team that's going to know how to show up, and more importantly, like, this is a team that's going to know how to play against France, because this is a team that can get emotional. This is a team that will want to start a fight, right? Engapeth stares through the net. You bet your ass Fornal is going to as well, right? And sure, he'll probably get a card, and I guarantee you, I'm going to guarantee you right now, you want to win a bet on Saturday? bet that there's going to be cards shown in the Poland-France game. I guarantee you that's going to happen.
And bet that Poland will get one long before France gets one.
Yeah. Let's just say, not to generalize, but there's a lot of tattoos on France and Poland. There's no tattoos on Italy. Only one guy, Romano, right? So there's a lot of edge on both of those two teams. These teams are going to want to come and fight. This Polish team has already had that letdown, Rob. They've already had that letdown match where, like, what the fuck were we doing? Why didn't we show up? And that was against Italy in the pool play, right? This is, and likewise, on the other side, you have France, who have already lost a match to Slovenia. So you have two teams, and I am always wary of undefeated teams. We don't have an undefeated team.
Nope.
We have two teams who are going to be battle tested and ready to go. And for me, yeah, like, I think that this is going to be all consuming by Poland, and I'm going to call Poland 3-1.
Wow.
And yeah, I think we're going to see from Poland this, like, in this final, what we saw from them in the Euro volley final last year against Italy, where they swept the floor with them. I think France is going to win the first, come out guns a-blazing. It's going to be a close one. France is going to jump out to a big lead. Poland's going to crawl it back. France is going to save it right at the end, and then Poland's going to run through them in the next 3 sets.
I sincerely hope that you're right. I sincerely hope that you're right.
So that's just my call. Now, if you're one of those idiots on TikTok who's basically going around saying that I was, like, saying Poland was going to lose, in what world are you? In what world?
Remember you created your TikTok account just to talk trash to people in the comments?
Oh, I literally do. I literally do. Like, I will openly talk shit to people in the comments. As like Everett Delorme too. Like, I'm not hiding behind it. You know, it's in the same way when I like.
Make sure you follow Everett. The link's in our description.
Recently, so what happened? How I said I've been going viral. I did one on TikTok accidentally from the Volleyball Source account, and that's the one that, like, got a whole bunch. So let's see. I've had one with 153,000 views.
Hey.
Another one with 127,000 views. Another one with 27,000 views. Another one with 12,000 views. So that's all the Volleyball Source TikTok. So yeah, I was like reposting all of my other ones through Volleyball Source, and I accidentally made one, and I was like, fuck it, let's just go through here for a little bit. So yeah, if you want to talk, you hear me talk shit on TikTok, come follow us at Volleyball Source on TikTok.
Oh yeah, there it is. All right, we have 3 post-game shows left, Mr. Delorme. We have one big one tomorrow after the women's semifinals, Brazil versus USA, Türkiye versus Italy. We already previewed them. But that's a big day tomorrow. We'll be live again tomorrow after Türkiye versus Italy. Friday is the men's bronze medal match. We will not have a post-game show for that game because when the United States wins that match 3-1, I will be busy celebrating and also traveling. So there will be no show on Friday for the first time all Olympic Games. But then we'll be back on Saturday with a lot of post-game coverage from both the men's gold medal match and then the women's gold medal match on Sunday. First of all, can I complain? Why are we doing the men's gold medal match at 1 p.m. local Saturday and then the women's bronze medal match after that?
I don't know.
That's completely backwards.
I would have to see what else is happening for big finals on that day in terms of, like, basketball and stuff like that. That could be the only thing that I could think of, is that they're trying to to get those things going in that way. But
whatever. And then the other thing is that thank you to all of you who tuned into our Volleyball World semifinal preview this morning. We'll be going live again tomorrow morning, 1 hour before Brazil versus USA. So that's, I think, 3 p.m. in Europe. It's 9 a.m. Eastern. So figure that out, and we'll make sure we put it in the Discord and share it wherever we can. But we have a little bit more clarity ahead of time now that we will be doing another semifinal preview live on Volleyball World. So make sure you get ready and tune into that.
Yep. Absolutely. It's going to be a big one. So make sure you tune in at 9 a.m. Eastern time, or whatever time it's going to be in your, you know what, just notify yourself right away as you've seen the link.
Right.
Put yourself in there right away. And then check us out after the game time, because it's going to be another good one. It's going to be a couple of other bangers.
Hope so.
Oh yeah. And Mina Villa, you're a loser. Get a life.
On that note, see you tomorrow, boys and girls. Thanks for watching.
Take time out of your day to come here just to chirp. It's hilarious. Thanks for the views.